One modern auction company has paid over £170 million to estate agents over the years just for pointing home sellers their way. So modern auction hasn't grown because sellers love it. It's grown because there's a machine behind it that seems to profit everyone involved except you as the home seller. And so in this video, I'll show you what modern auction is and exactly how that machine works so you can decide whether it deserves your trust. First, quick 30 seconds on what modern auction actually is. Modern auction sounds like the new and improved version of the auction. That's not really the case. So in practice, it's just an auction with longer deadlines and with some of the legal bindingness removed. And the theory is this allows more buyers to participate. And so in theory, you get the benefit of auction, but you also get a higher price than you typically expect from an auction. That is the idea, at least. So it means when a buyer wins at modern auction, they just pay this big non-refundable reservation fee. If they back out, the fee is gone, but no other legal consequences. That's it. And that fee is the key to everything I'm about to show you. So let me show you the modern auction machine that is seemingly enriching many people at your expense as the home seller. So there are 5 cogs to this machine, and cog number 1 is the fee I just mentioned. So big fee. The winning buyer typically pays the auction company around 4 to 5%, including that. So around 3 times more expensive than the average estate agent fee. On lower value homes, there's a minimum fee of around £6,000 in most cases. And so if you've got a 60 grand house, it's like a 10% fee. So we've got these big fees. Now, I think there is nothing wrong with an expensive service if it is great and if people get to make an informed decision coming in, but we will come back to that. In the meantime, cog number 2 is the split. So here's the thing. You're going to go to modern auction. They're going to follow their process. They're going to sell your house, and surely they're going to make all the money, all that big fee, right? Well, wrong. In fact, half of that big fee goes to the estate agent just for putting you in touch. So this agent actually makes more money by getting you to sell at modern auction than they make if they had to sell your home themselves. This is why they want you to sell at modern auction. And just to give you an idea of the scale of this, like I said at the start of the video, over the years, the biggest modern auction companies paid out over £170 million to the estate agents who funnel business to them. At over £40 million in 2024 alone. There are over 7,000 branches signed up to this one company. There are other companies involved as well, but national chains like Yopa are striking deals to push sellers their way as well. So something really important to set out here, like modern auction has not grown organically by word of mouth with more sellers flooding to it because it's amazing. It's grown because there are these very high fees and a lot is paid to the companies to promote it and funnel business to the auction companies. There's a big difference. And so we're starting to see how this modern auction machine really works. And so next is cog number 3, which is the Salesforce. So how were so many estate agents all across the country pointing sellers this way? Well, it's because these modern auction companies have salespeople touring the country, recruiting estate agent branches and then training their teams. And so think about it. We're talking about salespeople here, salespeople training salespeople. So these training sessions are not about, how to tell if modern auction is the best option for your customer. The emphasis is far more just how to get them to do modern auction. So staff are trained to listen for trigger phrases like, I want to sell my house fast. I'm tired of the process. I'm sick of it falling through. When the agent hears these magic words, they are trained and incentivized to present modern auction as the answer, whether it's actually right for you and whether it's even right for your property. Those are much less of a concern. But the machine doesn't stop there, because even with all of that big fee, incentivized agent, a trained script, none of it works unless a home seller says yes and goes on board. And so why are so many sellers signing up? Well, that is cog number 4, which is the sales pitch. So I've spoken with 100 people who've had this pitch. So here's how it works. Your agent hears your frustration, and as trained, they plant the modern auction seed and pass you on to the company for a chat. And here is what I hear every week directly from sellers who have had these calls. They are given very optimistic valuations and very big promises by the auction house. So an example of the pattern I keep seeing, say a house on the market for 250 grand, 3 months in, hardly any viewings in a market where other similar homes are selling. Now, there is a good chance in that situation that it is an issue with the asking price, right? Well, again and again, I'm hearing stories from sellers about trusty modern auction companies coming into this situation and saying things like, I think we'll get you 240. So think about that. A company from a completely different part of the country putting your home into a process most buyers can't participate in, and they say they're going to sell more quickly and for nearly the same price that your local estate agent already says they can't get. And they're going to charge the buyer a fat fee on top of it as well. And it's just like, how? How are you going to do that? And there is no answer. It's just kind of a trust me kind of response. And here's the thing, that big talk costs them nothing, right? If the best bid ends up being 10 grand under their valuation, they won't give you 10 grand to make up the difference. And if they do sell it, they might make a £10,000 fee. But I promise you, if they fail to sell, they won't give you £10,000 as an apology. So there's no downside for them. It's all upside. So the business model seems to be, the best I can observe, is sign them up, chuck it at the wall, and see what sticks. That is what I'm seeing over and over again with this modern auction machine. But that doesn't quite complete the picture either, because you might think, fine, if the big promises don't come true, sellers are disgruntled and they'll just walk away, right? And the answer is, again, well, no. So cog number 5 is the contract. Remember who signs up to this sort of service. It's people who want to sell fast and they want certainty and they're sick of it dragging on, and they're responding to modern auction's promise of a quick sale. The thing is, most of these companies use 90-day contracts. I've seen them personally. You can find them on Property Ombudsman complaints as well, talk about 90-day modern auction contracts. So why does a company promising a quick sale need to lock you in for 90 days to find a buyer? Well, there's 2 reasons. First, it gives them a ton of time to find a buyer, but equally, it gives them time to grind you down from that high initial valuation. And in most cases, that is the real intention. It's just a series of phone calls again and again saying something like, look, we're on at 240, no one's coming to see it, you're going to have to reduce, or it seems like it's not going to have a chance of selling. And so what do you get? If you reduce, you're going to lose tens of thousands of pounds less than you expected when you signed up. And if you don't reduce, it's now made out like it's your fault the property is not selling. And so you end up either having to wait out and waste the 90 days or go with the lower price. And so why have modern auctions grown so much and become so popular? It is the machine. It's a big fee, a big incentive for the agent, Salesforce recruiting them, some overpromising goes on, followed by a contract that restricts your options and gives the company months to keep trying. So where do we go from here? Well, I think in the interest of fairness, it's really important to state 2 things. I think there is nothing wrong with an agent making an introduction to a great company. Marketing costs are expensive for any business. And so if an agent's helping you find the best companies and helping the best companies get more customers, that would be a positive thing for everyone. And I think there's nothing wrong with a really expensive service if it's sold truthfully coming in and if it's really good. But that begs the one big question we haven't answered, which is modern auction actually any good? Well, here's what I can tell you for me personally. We have one of the biggest independent property advice websites in the UK, and we could start pushing modern auction tomorrow and make a ton of money like all those estate agents are. The same fee splits they get are offered to us as well. But I refuse to accept them. And so watch this next video where I share my honest verdict on whether modern auction is actually any good, and we look across the 4 things you're probably interested in if you're considering it. How fast is it going to be? What level of certainty? How easy is it going to be? And how much can you expect to get at the end of it all? Take a look because it completes the modern auction picture. So if you go take a look, I will see you there in a second. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.